You may be wondering to yourself, who is the Queen City Move Maker? Well, get ready to find out the top 5 things about me. Hello friends, welcome to Making Moves Charlotte with Jason, your Queen City Move Maker and local expert for everything you need when it comes to living in the Charlotte, North Carolina region. If you're new here and want to know all about how you can make a life-changing real estate move, make sure you tap the subscribe button and you click the bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. Now, there are lots of people moving to the Charlotte region every day and reaching out to me. I'd absolutely love to hear from you if you're thinking about moving or relocating to the Charlotte or Greater Charlotte metro area, north of the city around Lake Norman, or even across the state line into South Carolina. Please give me a ring, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 things about myself that not everyone knows about me. Now, make sure you listen to the end because they get better and better. So, in no particular order, here we go. Number 1, I am a native North Carolinian and have never lived outside the state. I was born and raised in the military town of Jacksonville, North Carolina, located on the East Coast before I went off to college at East Carolina University, go Pirates, to major in music education. I then moved back to Jacksonville where I taught high school band for 4 years at my rival high school. Now, you might be wondering what instrument I play. That is the trumpet, which I've played ever since I was in 6th grade. Of course, I don't play it as much today as I did before I got into real estate. So how did I end up in Charlotte, you may ask? Well, that is an answer I may have in common with many, and that is love. In 2013, I met my future husband and best friend in life, Matthew, who is also a music educator. I then moved to the Lake Norman area north of Charlotte to be with him and teach 1 more year of band. That was at Brawley Middle School in Mooresville, and let's just say that middle schoolers were the end of me teaching. Later that year in 2015, I launched my real estate career. Matthew and I then moved to the city of Charlotte in 2016, and the rest is history, as they say. Second thing about me is I love to travel. If I could travel the world for the rest of my life and get paid doing it with my husband, we both would drop everything, pack our bags, and go. I'm sure everyone would do that. I'd probably credit my love for traveling to my parents and grandparents. As a kid, we always go on some sort of trip each year, whether it was big or small. Lots of times we just ended up going camping, and they certainly wanted to make sure we saw the world. One of the best trips that I remember as a child was when my grandparents took me and my sister around the United States in an RV. They had already done this trip many times, and they wanted to share with us all the places they had visited. We ended up leaving the day we got out of school for the summer and did not return until 2 months later. We visited a number of national parks, points of interest, and had a blast seeing this beautiful country. My love for traveling only continued in college when I participated in the Semester at Sea program. Now, for my fellow millennials, you may remember seeing this program on MTV's Road Rules back in the late 90s. Yes, that is what I'm talking about and actually where I learned about it. When I was in college, I looked it up, found it was still happening, applied, and got accepted. It was the trip of a lifetime. Over 67 days in the summer of 2009, I got to visit 9 countries around the Mediterranean, including Spain, Italy, Croatia, Greece, Turkey, Bulgaria, Egypt, and Morocco. You may ask which was my favorite place to visit, and I would have to say I fell in love with Dubrovnik, Croatia. The program is still around today, and I would highly encourage any college student to consider participating. You will not regret it. The third thing about me is, even though I was never an active or very fit person as a kid or teenager, I can say that I have ran a marathon in my lifetime. How did I end up going from an inactive teen to running a marathon? With lots and lots of determination. After my first semester as a freshman in college, I decided I wanted to get in shape, and in January of that year, I started running 1 mile a week. Over the course of the next few months, I kept increasing my distance, running, and by the fall of that year, I was running multiple miles, and I participated in my first 5K. I kept things going, and in the years that followed, I was running 5 to 6 miles a day and participating in various half marathons. During my semester at sea, I met a friend and we had planned on running a marathon together in the fall of that year. which was my senior year. We decided on the Seattle Marathon over Thanksgiving. With it being my senior year, of course, everything got very busy, especially because I was preparing for my senior recital and I was doing my internship at schools in the area. I found myself not running and as frequently as I should and went a very long time without running at all. I had paid for everything and I was planning on doing the marathon no matter what. I actually ended up running about a week before the marathon happened and ran 6 miles, and they just felt awful. I was going to do it even if it meant I was going to walk the whole thing. However, everything went better than expected. I'd set a goal that I wanted to finish in under 5 hours, so I got in line with the pacer that was for 4 hours and 45 minutes. The marathon began, and to my surprise, I was running ahead of that pacer. Things just started to feel very good and I settled into a nice pace. For a majority of the marathon, I was on track to complete it in under 4 hours. Around mile 23 though is when I started to have some very bad pain in my right knee. I slowed down and walked for a little bit, but I knew I was almost to the finish line and I did not want to walk the rest of the way and increase my time of finishing. I sucked it up and just started running as much as I could, walking as needed. Eventually, I saw that I was close to finishing in under 4 hours, so I picked up my pace and I was able to complete the marathon in 3 hours, 59 minutes, and 50 seconds. Running a marathon was something that if you tell me I would have done as a teenager or in my lifetime, I thought you would have been joking. I'm very happy to say that I can check that off as an accomplishment in my lifetime. The fourth thing that people might not know about me is that I have actually been skydiving. This is something that my husband and great friend Paula wanted to do as a part of our 30th birthdays. I still can't believe we actually ended up doing it. It was an unbelievable experience, and I would tell you that I would get back up on a plane and do it again. To tell you a little bit about it, we ended up going down to Chester, South Carolina, where they do a lot of skydiving, and we ended up going bright and early for a 7 a.m. skydive. I was certainly nervous leading up to the day of when this was going to happen, and my husband and Paula were the opposite. Now, once we got up in the plane, the opposite happened to me as I got less nervous. And so I said to myself, you know what, you're in this plane and you're not going to be the person that is going back to the ground in the plane. You're going to jump either way. My husband and Paula were the ones that actually began to get nervous as we took off and went higher and higher in the air. I was the last of the group to jump out of the plane. All I was thinking was, I hope they make it and their parachute opens. Skydiving does not feel like the falling feeling you get on a roller coaster. It did not seem that way to me. I do remember that it felt a little hard to breathe due to the altitude, and it almost had this taste or smell of chlorine, similar to when you get water up your nose in a pool. I know that's a little weird, but that is what I always say when I'm telling this story. We fell for about 30 to 60 seconds, and once the parachute was pulled, I remember just seeing the sun rising above the clouds. We really could not see the ground at this point either because it was a cloudy day, but we were high enough to where we could see the sun. It was really nice to just float up there and see the world so quiet in the morning. Once we got lower, we did end up floating through a cloud, which was another cool experience. After that, we were very grateful to see the ground and to land. Again, I would highly recommend everyone to at least experience it. I'm sure I will be doing it another time in my life. The fifth and last thing about me is that I love to serve and give back. Ever since I was a kid, I've always had an urge and love to do this. Throughout high school, college, my time as an educator, and now as a realtor, I have always searched out ways that I felt was a calling for me to serve. With any position I volunteer for or am appointed to, I always come in with the mindset of how can I utilize my creative skills and knowledge to help leave this organization in a better place than I found it. Here in the Charlotte area, I have served as a board member with the Carolinas LGBT Chamber of Commerce, giving back to the LGBT community through the planning and implementation of their Lunch and Learn series. Professionally, I've also served on numerous committees with the Canopy Realtor Association, one of my favorite being the Canopy Housing Foundation, where we continuously strive to meet unmet housing needs in Mecklenburg, Iredell, and Haywood counties of North Carolina. The reason I love to serve is because I feel we all have our special talents, unique gifts, and knowledge, and if we keep all that inside, then we are not sharing it to help improve the lives of others and our world each and every day. So here's a bonus for those who have watched this all the way to the end. I'm going to give you some quick facts. My favorite food would have to be either Asian or Italian. My favorite music would most likely be 80s or Motown. I rarely listen to anything that is past the 90s, so there are some recent artists I do like, and that is including Taylor Swift. I would say I'm partially a Swiftie. I definitely am an old soul at heart when it comes to music. As you continue to watch the videos on my channel, you will certainly learn a lot more about me, who I am, and things I have gone through in my life. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy the content provided.